Welcome to the Harmonize Your Life Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast with your host, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. This is our Cabo version. We are coming to you live from Los Cabos, Mexico, where we have been in a retreat setting at the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Retreat 2026. I am so excited to invite you into this space so that you can feel what we have been feeling over these last 2.5 days that we have been here. I'm excited not only about the women who are on the stage with me today, but I'm excited about every woman in this room. We have come from all over the United States of America, and we have converged on Los Cabos, Mexico for a time of refreshment, a time to be poured into, to be empowered, to have fun, to eat good food and laugh and cry together. It has been a marvelous time. And so we're going to bring to you some of what we have been experiencing by those who are on the stage with me, who I'm going to introduce to you in just a moment. But I want you to know that you can follow this podcast on YouTube, or you can find us on Spotify. Just go to Dr. Toni G. Alvarado on YouTube, or you can go to Spotify and you will find us there. Subscribe to the podcast, and every time that we have something new coming to you, we want to be a blessing to you with these conversations. We are here to empower, to inform, to inspire, and uplift women of color with these conversations. Y'all give it up. My panel they're just a dynamic group of women. I want to introduce our panel to you. I'm going to go from my far left all the way to the woman that's sitting right next to me. I want to introduce to you Dr. Jaime Eaddy of Thoughtful Transitions is with us today. Dr. Cheryl Polote-Williamson. She is no stranger. She and Dr. Eaddy are no stranger to this podcast. Thank you for being here. Co-pastor Freida McCullough. That was a 60 moment. Listen, Co-pastor Freida never comes to this retreat by herself. She comes with a posse. And when I tell you the women of her church come with her, the Wisdom women, my Wisdom family, Word and Season, all the way from Warner Robins, Georgia. Yes. Listen, these women fill up this retreat every year. They bring their own energy. They bring their own black girl joy. That's because of the woman that they are following. Come on, Co-pastor Freida McCullough. And our fine, woo! Sheila Agnew-McCoy, our HYL fitness instructor. Yes. Thank you. She gets us up early in the morning. We stretch and we move. We do morning movement with Sheila every year for the past 3 years. We've been doing morning movement with Sheila at this retreat. She is an awesome woman of God. Yes. And she does a whole lot of work with women of color, and particularly women who are 50 and up who need to move our bodies, okay? And then this special woman that's sitting next to me, I'm going to try not to cry, but I want to introduce to the world my daughter, my one and only daughter, Miss Ariel Alvarado. That's my girl. That's my baby girl, my only girl, and I am so excited that she is on this podcast. And listen, she's not up here just because she's my daughter. She's up here because she's got something to say. She has something to say, and I want to give her credit. She and her brother, my oldest son, Jonathan Elliott Alvarado II, it was their idea, this podcast. They said to me one day, they said, "Ma, you need a podcast." I said, "What's a podcast?" And Ariel said she did. They said, "You need a podcast." And I said, "Okay, tell me what that's all about." And they start telling me. They said, "With all the work that you do, Mom, you have things that people need to hear. We're going to help you. And they actually, for 3 years, produced my podcast. They would send out the emails to all of my guests. Y'all remember getting her emails and stuff? And even while she was in grad school, while she was away, she would help her mommy from a distance get this podcast out here. And so I'm so excited that this is her first Harmonize Your Life retreat, but certainly not her first time being with her mom in these spaces. So y'all welcome my daughter one more time, Ariel Alvarado. So listen, our theme this year is Black Girl Joy. When I thought about our theme for this conference, for this retreat, our retreat theme, I thought, what do we need in this season? Mm-hmm. What do we need in this season? You know, we've heard the term Black Girl Magic, you know, and we've kind of talked about that on this podcast. I actually have a whole podcast on the whole idea with Black Girl Magic with my soror, Tisa Smart Williams. You can go, Washington, Tisa Smart Washington. You can go there and pull that one up. And she is the tax commissioner in Rockdale County. She's my line sister. We had a conversation around Black Girl Magic. And so, but then I've been hearing this phrase, Black Girl Joy, right? And I know for me, I didn't grow up hearing things like Black Girl Magic or Black Girl Joy. I'm a Black girl from the south side of Chicago. And I've been dark skinned all my life with thick hair, right? And so I remember the first time I realized I was a Black girl. A white girl was walking down the street with her mother and saw me, pointed at me, and started crying. Her mother said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "She's Black." That stuck with me. And I want to say maybe about 10. Wow. And that got so deep in my psyche and in my emotions. So growing up in high school, college, I didn't feel good about being a Black girl. What's wrong with me? Why would somebody point at me and start crying because they've never seen a Black girl? And so I carried that for years. For years, I didn't like being dark-skinned. I didn't like the fact that I had kinky hair. I remember begging my mom to let me get a perm because my hair was so thick. And see, my mother, it was 4 of us, right? Yeah. 4 of us, you know, Freida. And my mama pressed our hair. Yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I got burns today.
Oh yeah, hold that ear.
Right here. She pressed our hair on Saturday night. She would start washing our hair on shampooing our hair. We said, wash your hair. She would do that on Friday. Then we would have to wear these plaits, braids all day for it to dry naturally. Wasn't no sitting on no dryer. And it took mine at least 3 days to dry. And then she would get us up. She would either start on Saturday night, or whoever she didn't finish on Saturday night, she got you up early Sunday morning and pressed your hair for you to go to church. Mm-hmm. And so I remember when I got my first perm at 16, my aunt had gone into cosmetology, became we called a hairdresser. Hairdresser. And I begged my mom to let me get a perm because I didn't like the fact that I had thick, nappy, kinky hair, right? And so, even that I carried for years. I used to tell people, if I die in between touch-ups, y'all make sure y'all perm my hair or y'all lay me out there. So when the pandemic hit and the hair salons had been closed, I had a panic attack. No. Because I was like, my hair, I had visions of preaching and my hair growing up like a chia pet. Just swelling. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't act like I'm on the one. All right. So, but I also remember when I discovered that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
In the image of God. But it took years. It took therapy. And even after realizing that I was fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God, just the things that I carried, the choices I made in men, things that I wouldn't say yes to because I didn't think I qualified, things I wouldn't even apply for. So now Black girl joy means so much to me, especially when I look at my daughter and see her joy, right? And so, yeah, what does that mean for you? What does it mean to have, for you, when you hear Black girl joy, what does that mean for you? Do you have a personal story connected to that, Jamie?
So first of all, I did have the hair that's swollen. It was swollen or something. He did something to it, so I certainly relate to that story. I remember not really understanding joy in my context because I don't know if I saw people express joy outwardly when I was younger, right? I thought they had joy, I thought they were happy, but I didn't see the joy expressed outwardly. And I remember when I finished my doctoral program and I was about to sign up for another program, and my clinical supervisor came to me and said, I wonder what it would look like for you to just sit and enjoy the moment.
Wow.
You have done so much work, but here you are already accepted into another program and ready to move on. And that really had me think about whether or not I understood what it meant to celebrate myself, whether or not I understood what it meant to sort of just rest and be happy with an accomplishment. And so then I started thinking about, how do I notice, because I think that's really what it boiled down for me, was notice the good in my life. Notice the good in the world. Notice the good in nature. Notice what makes me feel warm inside. Notice what puts a smile on my face. And that's when Black girl joy became real for me. It did not matter if I had $100 or $2 in my pocket. If I could notice the joy around me, notice the joy in me, then that's when I was able to sort of sit with. I can have Black girl joy whether I have a job, whether I have friends. Right, the Black girl joy for me is, do I notice God around me, in me? And if I'm able to do that, then I have my Black girl joy. But I didn't have it growing up. I got that in my mid-late 40s is when I started to feel Black girl joy.
And I would say that's around the time that I started feeling Black girl joy, when in my 40s, right? And you're right. And so that whole idea of when do we feel like we're enough?
Enough.
Cheryl?
Okay. So for me, Black girl joy takes root in my life every single day. The fact that I can show up boldly, fiercely, and unapologetically. I don't shrink myself for anybody. I walk in the room like I own the room because that's what God requires me to do. And so when I walk out and I feel that light that God has placed in me, and that other people can see that light in me that draws them to me, that is the absolute most joyful thing that I have ever experienced in my life. So I wake up every single day on fire to experience that kind of joy from just hugging another woman, and she feels that energy of what God has placed in me enter into her body, because that's what I ask him for.
Let me ask you this though, have you always been that way? Because I think I see you that way now, but did you ever struggle with it?
When I was 40, I was laying in bed. This has happened, I'm 50, I'll be 60 this year. Prior to turning 42, I struggled in every single area of my life. It was not until, and I'll say this publicly, it was not until a sister specifically did everything she could to break me down, including disrupt my marriage, my children, and my family, that I did not realize who I was in Christ. And I was laying in bed one day, And I heard the Holy Spirit say, girl, get up. This is your last day crying, and you know this. This is your last day crying. He said, I am about to put in you what the world will never be able to strip out of you again. And I got up.
The reason I asked that question, because sometimes people see where we are and think we've always been there. And I think when it's important that people also see our process.
Absolutely.
And our journey, because that, to me, I think my process may speak louder than where I am right now.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Freida?
I agree. I agree that the process, because I've not always, been in a place with it. I grew up, mine was a little different. I got teased a lot when I was younger because I was so little. And people always said, they would call me olive oil and things like that because I was so small. And when you're young and you got friends that got curves and all that, and you're in high school, and they, and so you kind of, it messes with your self-confidence because the joy comes from within.
Oh, yes.
And so if you have internal issues, it's hard to express joy, and having to be okay. And that took a lot of prayer. It took a lot of, hearing the things, but having to filter them through the word. And it was not an easy process as you go through things, because you're always trying to, in the world we live in, you're always trying to live up to somebody else's expectations. And it was wearing me out. Like, I'm tired. And I love my husband, but I couldn't even live up to his expectations and everything, And you have to find a place where you're okay with you.
Yes.
I was a grown woman with kids, with children, before I realized that I'm okay with me. And so my other part of that is that when I did get to that place, now my black girl joy also comes for seeing other women and walk out their black girl joy, like that I can tell them my story and I can watch and see how it's affecting their life. Like, oh my goodness, I see her getting her joy, and that gives me joy as well. So God has placed me in a place as, pastoring with my husband, and he's showing me that all those things that I went through, all those insecurities that I felt, all of those things, I can now help other women and help bring them out of that. That gives me joy as well. Not just the things that happened for me, but the things that God delivered me from, that now I can help another woman get her black girl joy as well.
Amen.
Yeah,
Sheila?
Okay, for me, I've always, and I'm just being honest, I've always had a sense of confidence. But I didn't really know that's what I was eluding, because people would say something negative about me, mostly ladies, girls, or whatever. And ironically, when I leave here, I'm going to visit a friend of mine I've known since I was 12 years old. And this is how we met. On the corner of my house, south side of Chicago. It was two girls. I was 12. And it was two girls on the corner that I had never seen before, because I lived on a block where we had big buildings with a lot of kids, and we knew everybody. And I was crossing the street, and they said, "Look at her. She thinks she all of that. Look at her hair." And I'm like, what are they talking about? I didn't, it didn't even, it was hair. I got three, four of us like that. And it never really came across to me that people talk about you no matter what stage you're in.
That part.
No matter what stage you're in. But that kind of did something to me. But it turns out that the main young lady turned out to be one of my best friends. We're still friends today. And I had the long hair, all that kind of stuff. I now have alopecia. And so my hair is never going to grow, okay? She got long, thick hair. So I'm like, all these years, she was harping on my hair, and I've never told her that I have alopecia, but she'll know, because when she first moved to California, I went to visit her, and she had hair, but it wasn't her hair. So I said, "Is that your hair?" She said, "Girl, no, I'm in California. If you want hair, you buy hair. If you want a butt, you buy a butt." So we have to, one of the things being here, my black girl Joy said that I need to talk to her when I see her.
Wow.
Because she still has issues with me. And the reason why I know she does is because she actually called my sister and told her some of the issues that she had. And they are all issues. And my sister said, don't you know I'm your sister? That I'm going to go tell you. So I decided, it wasn't my original plan to go see her, but I decided because I am going to bake, you have to stop, that I'm going to go and see her and try that. So this would be my opportunity for Black Girl Joy. We have to get along with each other.
Yeah.
We can't hold,
That's
we can't hold stuff in. If it's your sister, I cannot stand people tell me I haven't talked to my sister in whatever time. That bothers me because you never know when you're going to need your sister. You never know when you're going to need your mother or your brother. Our joy is being able to get along with each other.
Wow.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's good.
Well, Ariel, I always thought you had a lot of joy, Black girl joy. I think one of the things that I will say this, and I want you to share, but one of the things that has given me joy is watching you come into your own. And I will say, because my father passed away when I was 5, watching you with your dad and the joy that you get being with your dad, I always kind of felt like that was a sense of joy for you. Mm-hmm. But I want you to speak to what does Black girl joy look like for you at 26? 26, you know I had to ask, because do y'all forget y'all's kids?
Yes.
I do. Like, how old are you?
A minute ago.
Okay.
So what it looks like today, I think kind of like Ms. Sheila said, because of the parentage that I have, I kind of had that confidence, but didn't really know that was a thing. And I have this innate superpower of being a child. I love being a child. Like, it's great. I'm never going to grow up. This is going to be it for the rest of my life. This is great.
Yeah.
And so I do, that's intentional because when I was a kid, being a pastor's kid, you get picked on for that. Growing up in private Christian school, predominantly white space, you get picked on for being one of 4 Black kids in the class. Yeah. And so my escape and my retreat, my joy came from, the childish things that I like. So I watch, animated movies, and I like reading and stuff like that. And so I really dug into that and have held on to that and have let that be a source of joy for me. And that has been safeguarded not only from, what I have decided, but from the parentage that I have, that you all continuously spoke life into me, continuously called me beautiful and smart and all of the things. So I had a really strong sense of self to be able to do something like that from my community speaking life into me. And then, I didn't realize what Black girl joy was until I got to Spelman, Thy Name We Praise. Because I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna be myself and that's cool. And then you get to an HBC like Spelman and you're like, oh, that's what that is. Okay, cool. We can all do that. We can all, in our variety, because Black people are not a monolith, like in our various lanes and expertise, we can all experience something like that. So I credit, Spelman College was the second best decision that I ever made. And that's where my first light bulb moment of Black girl joy, that specific brand of girlhood, that specific brand of joy was cultivated and set me up. And the Spelman College Glee Club was my first introduction to sisterhood and all of those things. And then becoming a member of AKA is really skyrocketed that. Yes, seaweed. Has really skyrocketed that for me. It's gonna come out. Down her legacy, it's gonna come out. Thank you.
And you danced real well on our.
Oh, I thank you. I tried. I needed the dues paid. The dues are expensive.
Yes.
So I think that that sense of self confidence being cultivated by my community and kind of having that superpower of like, no, this is who I'm gonna be, and you can take it or leave it. Like, it's not gonna change. I can't change it because this is what I got. So I'm gonna work with it. And then getting to Spelman and seeing so many, magnificent different kinds of Black women and interacting with just people from all over the world at all walks of life really helped me to be able to see. Because also I'm of mixed parentage. My dad is half Black, half Puerto Rican, and so you're too Black for the white kids. You're not Hispanic enough for the Spanish kids. You're not Black enough for the Black kids. So like, where do you really fit into that world?
Wow.
How do you really navigate that space? And Spelman really helped affirm my Blackness. And obviously, like being raised by you, I have my experiences are of the Black community, but it wasn't solid until I got to Spelman and got to see the different breadth and depth of what that could be.
And I'm glad you brought that multicultural piece into the conversation, because we are not a monolith, right? And women of color are not just Black women from the South Side of Chicago, right? But yeah, and to see how you've been able to navigate, trying to figure out where you fit in those spaces. Yeah. How did you say that? I'm not Black enough for the.
You're not Black enough for the Black kids. You're not Spanish enough for the Spanish kids. You're not. You're too Black for the white kids. It was just, I was always forced to be myself. There was no other option but to just be who I was. Exactly. And the confidence that my community gave me allowed me to really double down on that instead of trying to veer outside of, and you experiment, you grow. The person who I was as a kid is for sure not the person that I am today. And I hope to not be the person that I am today in 20 years. Yeah. We should be growing in all of those things. But I think at the core of it, that who you are shouldn't change. Like the things that light you up, they don't. They may evolve. They may look a little bit different, but who you are is who you are, and that's what God gave you. So why would you mess with that? Just leave that be.
Amen. Well, let's take a couple of questions. Okay, this says, how do we develop real conversations about aging needs and challenges? The challenges that come with aging. And okay, all right. How do we, Sheila?
Okay, I'd like to address that a little bit. One thing is, we all know that we're going to get older. And we all know that it will be some challenges. Don't try to sugarcoat it. I know this is a lot about aging, and aging is better, and we this and we that and that. But underlying there is always going to be some challenges. So as a Black girl joy, and as a lady that's in fitness, and with that fitness, I take it as wellness, I think that we have to understand that Black girl joy, fitness is not one size fits all. It's different sizes, it's different shapes, and it's different things that may go on in your life. And it's okay that you might have had a disease, or you have a disease now. It's not okay, but when I say it's okay, it's that those are some of the things that's gonna happen. So learn to understand that there are ways that you can move forward in spite of your age. We've seen it here today with our sister that's getting ready to be 90. I'll be 75 in a couple of more weeks. And I was thinking about that. I said, wow, I'm almost a century old. Can you believe when you start thinking about that? But guess what? I don't know how you might be, but your ball is still on the court. You still have time to shoot the ball. And if every time something goes down, you got 25 seconds to make sure the ball goes into the net. Wow. So those 25 seconds may be 25 days, 25 years, 25 hours, whatever it is, shoot the ball. And that's what you have to think about. You have to shoot the ball, because time, we're not gonna get that back. So I'm gonna step out here, like Cheryl said, when I walk in the room, baby, I don't care who's in the room. When I walk in the room, to me, I own the penthouse that's in the room. So own who you are and make sure that whatever you do it more better.
Yeah.
You better go, girl.
And I love the way you responded, and I just want to say for some of us, it is recognizing what you can still do now, right? So the black girl joy comes because maybe since we're using a sort of basketball thing here, right? Maybe I don't have my 3-point shot the way I used to, but can I still make a layup, right? It is finding joy in what I still have, what I can still do, and in many ways, allowing ourselves to grieve the thing that I can no longer do, so that I can really rest in and appreciate. That's that noticing God, right?
Yes.
Noticing what I can still do so that my joy is there. Because sometimes we push our own joy to the side by saying, oh, I wish I was FloJo. Well, no, that's not it. But what, can you walk around the block? Then be joyful in the walk around the block and not,
And even not just with physical, with moving physically, but even mentally, things like. And what I've learned to do as I age is laugh at myself. That's one of the. I mean, if I forget something, you know what I'm saying. I've learned to laugh at some of the things that come with getting old, or aging, as we like to say. But just acceptance, I think, of where we are. And learning how to navigate where we are in this space. You know, one of the things that I'm thinking about doing, my husband and I, as we age, we've been talking about having different things changed out in our home, like handles, very practical stuff, right?
Yes.
One of my sorors was telling me there's a company that will come out and help you, like if you have a tub that you have to, sometimes you may have to change the appliances in your house, or how you get in and out of the tub as you age, or shower as you age, or take care of yourself, cooking and things like that. And so there are things that you can do in your home to make your home even a safer place as you age.
I was just saying that to my husband, as a matter of fact. I said, you know, we both in our 70s. I said, we can get rid of a lot of this stuff. You know, we don't need all of this. So we need to start doing it now. So if we
because your kids don't want it.
They don't want it.
They want
the money you might need. They don't want all that stuff. That's a lot. I mean, his mom, it took us, she has so much stuff. Who has 70 fishing rods and 25 tubs of Tide? And I cried helping him with her. So you want to start, that's my thing. When I saw her, I said, oh no. So we want to start getting rid of that as we, as we go along.
Whatever we have to do to be able to navigate that space.
So what I just heard was two things. We're finding joy, we're looking for it where it already exists, and then we're cultivating joy. We're making our lives and our environment around us conducive to the joy that we're trying to find. I think that as a young person, that's like, I'm aging too. I'm aging too. And I think that's really important that we learn that now, not later, not when it's too late and we're too tired or don't have enough to do it. I think the finding the joy and the cultivating the joy is something that's really, really important for us to do at any age. At any age that we find it and we cultivate it.
And I think also finding new things. Exploring. Because sometimes we get rigid as we age, and I don't like this, I don't eat that, or I've never done. But sometimes as we age, we need to explore. And there's some things that I'm doing now at 62. I didn't like exercising when I was growing up. I didn't really get into exercise until I was 37. 37. I was 37 when I started. And I just started with just walking and doing a treadmill and stuff. Now I'm lifting weights and flipping tires at 62. But I didn't know I enjoyed that, right? And so I didn't know I enjoyed running and things like that. So you have to, or hiking. You have to expand and see what you might enjoy. And don't be afraid to try new things as we age. Or maybe also shift, and maybe because I did it before and I liked it last year, don't mean I like it this year.
I would say to you, and one of the things I say, just keep living. As you're getting older, as you're aging, continue to live. I think a lot of people feel like, well, I'm just get to a certain age, I don't want to do that anymore. And I think you stop living. My grandma used to say, you're gonna get older, you're gonna die.
And
That's it.
My
That's the
mama
choice.
said, live until you die.
You have
when
to
my
keep
mother,
living.
when my mother was diagnosed with cancer in 2019, and she passed away in 2021 in May. Prior to when her cancer came back, she was in remission for about a year, and it came back very aggressively. Mom wanted to go to Hawaii and had never been. And my sisters and I, in February, she passed away in May of 2021. We took her on her dream trip in February 2021. And when she was getting ready to go, she had all her treatment and all that. And when we were getting ready to take her, and we were like, Mom, are you sure? She said, I'm gonna live until I die.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And literally, her 75th birthday, we set up because it was the pandemic and people couldn't come in, so we set her outside and people drove by and we gave her a big party. People came by and all of that, and really that was kind of their farewell to her, because she was leaving. And she knew she was leaving, but she lived until she died. 3 weeks before my mom took her last breath, she took a road trip. My mom loved the road trip. She would drive from Chicago to Atlanta. When we took her keys, we knew it was time. She was like, y'all took my keys, I gotta get out of here. Right? But she lived until she died. And that's where I got that mantra from.
I'm gonna say, Dr. Toni, one thing you mentioned is your folks celebrating her 75th. Right, and that's a ritual. So celebrating milestones. So what would it look like if, when you turned 30, when you turned 40, there was a celebration, but the celebration included folks who had wisdom, who've been 30, 20 years ago, right? And so we get to then share with you, here are some of the lessons I learned as I turned 30. Right, here are some of the ways you might explore life and joy, because one of the things we don't have enough of in our community is those types of rituals that allow us to honor where we are, to bless and maybe say goodbye to where we used to be, and then to look forward with hope. And so for me, I'm always honoring a ritual, honoring myself and community in ritual. What does it mean to be in your late 20s? What does it mean to be about to turn 65 or 75? How can we honor that with a ritual that allows us to really celebrate? You are moving into a new age. You know what that means? Folks who've been 65 get to come and tell you, girl, let me tell you. Right, that means something in community. And so we need to do a lot more with that.
Good. I'm going to take one more question because we're going to wrap up in just a minute. But this is something that I think is in the room, and it may not be just one woman. So it says, we've been talking this week about joy and getting back to our authentic self. But how do you start when you have so much despair? How do you start? Where do you start? And we'll kind of wrap up with this thought, because I'm sure this is not the only person, right, in the room that may be trying to figure out, okay, how do I get there? Like, where do you start? And that's why when I was asking Cheryl, to share when she didn't have Black Girl Joy, because sometimes people see us where we are and they think we always been here, right? And all of us kind of shared a little bit about where we used to be and kind of where we are now. How do you get out of stuck mode? I think that's the question, right?
Yeah.
How do you get out? Where do you begin?
I begin in honoring where I am. I'm not going to move out of it. I don't need nobody to cheer me up. I don't need no distractions. I'm just going to sit with it. Because you can't, for a long time, and this is one of the things that I learned when I was in therapy, one of those times ago, that I'm a compartmentalizer, and I can think my feelings.
Yes.
I think I'm real good too. I got all of the perspectives, all of the idea. I'm not very good at feeling my feelings. That's taken me a really long time, and I'm still working on feeling my feelings and honoring whatever feelings exist, because they're all important. They're all necessary. They all teach you something. They're not just there to hurt you. They're not just there to keep you down. They're there to move you to whatever the next space that you're supposed to be is.
Wow.
So I allow myself, and they call me a hermit because I am. And if you've never had the pleasure of meeting my grandmother Dolores, yes, you have. Hi. And we are very hermit people. We don't go out. We don't do a lot. We're very to ourselves. But even
except when you're conducting.
Except when I'm conducting, and then I'm the most alive person in the world, and it's night and day, and that's as it should be. But when, even in my solitude, I found myself not allowing myself to just sit in it. So I start there. Just let it breathe. It's like a good bottle of wine. Let it breathe. Let it do what it needs to do. And this too shall pass. It has to.
I remember when my mother passed away, it was sudden. My mom passed away at 65, and she was in full health. We thought she got diagnosed with cancer in May. She was gone. May of 2019, she was gone by July of 2020. Vibrant, just always doing things. And I remember my bishop, when he told me on the phone when I was just, thought I was gonna lose my mind, he said, feel how you feel. Yeah. And it took me, and I had to sit with that for a long time because
I'm so glad he didn't give you that religious.
No, he did not.
God.
Yeah.
She's gonna be all right. I didn't want to hear none of that. My mama, we prayed for God to heal her, and it didn't happen. And like that, seemed like she was gone. He said, feel how you feel. But I'm gonna tell you that process was so hard because there were days I didn't want to feel that.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel that hurt, that anger, all the processes of the stages of grief. I didn't want to feel it. I remember being at home and I didn't even want to worship. I didn't want to hear worship music because it made me raw and vulnerable. And when I got raw and vulnerable, those feelings came up. And I remember sitting in the house just screaming. So by myself, it was 2020, and I was in the house, and I was just screaming to feel. But I had to feel that if I was going to move forward. Yeah. If I was going to, so people say, how do I move that? You have to process where you are. A lot of times people try to skip steps, and then you find yourself regressing because you did not deal with it where you are. And so I totally agree with you. Feel how you feel. Sit with where you are. Process where you are now so that when you move forward, why are you feeling that? Yeah. Why are you feeling where you are? Why are you feeling stuck?
It's the injury analogy that you gave yesterday. That like if you don't learn it now, you're gonna learn it later. Mm-hmm. So you might as well learn it now. You might as well sit with it now. And it's tough, but it's hard.
I think that she mentioned despair. And for everyone in this room, there's a reason why you're here today. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think we all have the same reason, is that we needed to be here. And so you have to digest some of the things that you've heard, some of the things that you've seen, because you came here for a reason. And you have to just digest what you have just experienced in the last 2 days. Mm-hmm. Whether it was something one person said, somebody said something that hit you. Someone said something that touched your heart. And yes, you have to start where you are. But one of the things that I like to say is when we're stuck, sometimes we need to just go back and think about what brought you there. Mm. And that may take you going back into the hurt thing. But you have to think, okay, well, what brought me here? How did I get despair? What are some of the things that gave me joy before this despair came? Mm-hmm. And then you focus on the things that bring you joy. I always tell people, write your list, do, don't. And look, all the yeses, all the things you want to do, that's good. The don't, just tear up that piece of paper and throw it away. And just focus on what you like and what you want to do. And that right there is a start. Yeah. Okay. So you got to start from somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. There will be times in our lives, as mentioned in the question, that we all go through despair. Yes. So even when we feel like we have all the best things going on, for the people in the room right now that you came here in despair, I want to venture with you to ask you to change your mindset. Because that's where every single thing starts from. If you wake up every morning and you say, oh, I'm so depressed, you have no choice but to get what you spoke. Yeah, so you have to see yourself. I was in despair, but I'm out of despair. And then what does that look like? What does being out of despair look like for you? Is it your film? Is it your book? Is it travel in the world? You have to see it before you see it. Yeah. If you cannot see yourself out of despair, I promise you, you never get out of it, because nobody up here or the person sitting next to you can convince you that you'll be out. It takes you knowing that there is a way out. So we're here to let you know that there is a way out of your despair. That's why you're in this room. And we're going to make sure that we talk to you, love on you, to help you push, promote, and get you in that place where you know that there's greater for you on the other side of that despair.
Amen.
And Dr. Eaddy,
Yes.
talk to us about the companions that help us, because sometimes we're so deep in despair, we can't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also want to say, sometimes we are not stuck.
Okay.
Okay.
We are uncomfortable with the discomfort that comes from being where we are in the moment. Healing is not an easy thing. If you have a cut, a deep gash, it takes time and work. Do you know your tissue has to work? Even after they stitch it back, your tissue has to work. Your blood vessels, your body has to work to heal. And so sometimes we are looking to move through something quickly. And so because we haven't moved through it quickly, we call it stuck. It's not stuck. It's moving through your process. And your process might not be 3 days. It might be 30. It might be 3 years. But it is your process. So that's the first thing. I think the second thing is recognizing that there's a constellation of care or ecosystem of care available for all of us. So some of us need to get ourselves a therapist.
That's what I was going to say.
Period.
Period.
Right? And let's go even further. Some of us need a therapist, a psychologist, a licensed mental health professional. Some of us need a psychiatrist. There's one in the building. If they prescribe to you a pill, you might need to take that pill. Some of you might need maybe a doula or a grief guide, like myself, right? That maybe you don't need the therapist, maybe you don't need the medication, but you need someone who is skilled in. Not just based on their own experience. And that's the important part too, right? Our experience is really important, but when you are seeking support, sometimes you have the girlfriend that gives you support. You might have your pastor that gives you support. But if your pastor doesn't have the experience in mental health or grief, then they give you pastoral support. And so
and that's why we refer.
Your constellation of care, your ecosystem of care.
And I call it, Jamie, the self-care board of directors. In my book on intentional self-care, and I'll wrap up with this. I talk about having a self-care board of directors, and everybody that coached with me know this. So I talk, first of all, I'm the chair of the board, right? And then I have others on that board. All of my medical doctors, and I'm gonna say more than one medical doctor. Right? And so I have, because I have a thyroid condition, I have an endocrinologist, right? So you may have a specialty that you need a particular doctor for. Right? I have a therapist, and I've been in therapy for different things. I've been in therapy for marriage stuff. I've been in therapy for ministry stuff. I've been in therapy for grief, right? So process, right? And so family therapy, we have a son because has a mental health diagnosis. We have to go as a whole family for counseling. And so it's having the friends, the family, the coaches, the counselors, all of us make it up. That's why I said we don't go alone. It takes the community. And you might need to come to the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Retreat. And we can help you with your despair. Let's give it up for our panel. I am so excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to speak into this camera and thank everybody that's listening or watching this podcast on Harmonize Your Life, Conversations on Self-Care for Women of Color podcast with your host, Dr. Toni G. Alvarado. You have just come into the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Retreat Cabo version, and we have brought to you some of the things, not everything, but a few of the things that we have been discussing this weekend. I want want to invite you to continue to subscribe to this podcast on YouTube and on Spotify. I want to encourage you to find the Harmonize Your Life Women's Self-Care Retreat and come with us next year. Follow us on social media and you'll find out where we're going next, because we're getting ready to tell it real soon. All right? All right. Give it up. Give it up.